Okay, so we back for part three. So we're gonna keep this thing moving, um, and do what we gotta do. We back up here, y'all. We ain't gonna abandon y'all like we did, but so many things going on. But it is what it is. So, and I appreciate those that stay up here with me. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm trying to help you, but it's also helping me. So now let's look at this: the coming of the living covenant, right? Which is another better promise. Psalms 25 and 10. All the paths of Yahuwah are mercy and truth unto such as keep his covenant and his testimony. See, mercy and truth. That's what we want. But you're gonna get mercy and you're gonna understand what truth is. All you gotta but you gotta do such as keep his covenant and testimony. Let me do something here real quick. Let me make sure. Okay, so we good. I just want to make sure that as we keep rolling. All right. We'll try to get through this. All right, let's get it big. Come on now. There we go. Boom. All right, let's roll. Isaiah 42 and 6. I, Yahuwah, have called thee in righteousness. So he's calling you in righteousness. He's calling you by covenant and will hold thine hand and will keep thee and give thee for a covenant of the people for a light of the Gentiles, right? Notice that. So he's calling Yahusha, right? And will keep him and give him for a covenant of the people. So this is why this is the coming of the living covenant, the comforter, because he was the original comforter, but he had to leave so that he could give you the guaranteed gift of another comforter, right? Isaiah 53 and 11, he shall see of the travail of his soul and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant, right? Commandment keeping servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities, right? He's gonna bear their trouble, their labor, right? Their all their little mischief. He's gonna take that on himself, right? To take that iniquity off of us. Those of us that's walking after him. We're gonna look at that. Now, the power of the earth is in the hand of Yahuwah, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. In the hand of Elohim is the prosperity of man. You want to prosper? You got to be able to get it out of his hand by being righteous, right? By keeping the commandments. And upon the person of the scribe shall he lay his honor, right? Ecclesiastes 10. Let's keep rolling. Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book, it is written of me. Psalms 40 and 7. That's what? Hebrews 7 through 10. It's exactly. Again, we keep telling you, please go back to this old part of the book. So volume is H number 4039, and to whole roll, the whole scroll, right? The book, the writing, right? The whole book. So we see here, it's telling us to what? Being all, the shepherd is walking to bring life, right? Megala, Mem, come on, Gimel, Lamed. Okay, y'all supposed to know these by now. The Father's will, G number 2307, right? What one wishes or has determined shall be done. His commands, the Father's precepts, his will, what's his choice, not yours, inclination, desire, his pleasure. So by us trying to walk as a Mashiach is walking here, this pleases the Father. And he said unto them, these are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled which were written in the Torah, 5 books of Moses, and in the prophets, and in the Psalms concerning me. Now, how could you not read these books and think you're going to understand who he is? It's impossible. That's why they have another Christ, some other Christ. See? So you can just do what you want, eat what you want. There's nothing. It's all love is unconditional. You don't have to do nothing. You know what I mean? There's just don't worry about it. He loves everybody. Notice he never said the New Testament because it did not exist. So he told you the first 5 books of Moses, the prophets, and the Psalms. This is how you're going to learn who the Mashiach is. And I'm saying this because, again, I'm trying to show that everybody has a chance to do this. And you're going to have to do this if you want to be spiritual Israel. It's simple as that. The new and living way, Hebrews chapter 10. So let's see what he did in this new and living way. Blotting out the handwritten writing of ordinances, right? Spoiled principalities and powers, redeemed us from the curse of the law. He was made a curse for us, removed the stupid spirit of blindness, gave us the Ruach to help us overcome ourselves and keep covenant, will give new covenant at the wedding feast with great gifts. The way has always been spiritual, except now, as we will see, anyone who believes, obeys, will receive help to complete the journey ahead. And the creator of all things came in the flesh and showed us the steps needed to receive a pass to the wedding feast, which equals salvation. Now, we could go read Hebrews 10, but I don't want to make this a long, long thing. But Hebrews 10 is, oh man, I should just do it anyway, but I'm not. I'm going to pass on that. Now, our example, 1 Corinthians 10, 1 through 4. Moreover, brethren, I would not that you should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea, and were all baptized unto Moshe in the cloud and in the sea, and did all eat the same spiritual meat, and did all drink the same spiritual drink, for they drink of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ. So now we see here the first thing before he started his new ministry to take over the priesthood and the meeting and to be the new mediator. He did the same thing that Moses led the children from, immersion. Mashiach takes all the proper steps to restore covenant rights for his followers that obey his father's will, just like he does. Now, 1 Peter 3 and 18, because the Mahiha, this is out of the Septuagint, also once died on account of sins, the just on account of sinners, that he might bring us unto Elohim, and dead in the body and alive in the spirit. See, that's what makes you spiritual Israel. We're gonna keep rolling with this. Now watch this. After which very type also you are saved in baptism, because the brother was saying, oh man, you don't have to be baptized. I mean, he's telling you right here in 1 Peter 3 and 21, after which very type also, after what type? After the type of Mashiach, after you saw what Moshe did, you are saved in baptism. So this is another step, because you just can't say with your mouth you believe in your heart, and that's what you hear all the time. You shall be saved, right? You confess with your mouth and believe in your, yeah, but this is a part of it. See, not while you cleanse the body from filth, but while you make confession of Elohim with a pure conscience, because we saw what kind of conscience Aaron had, and of the resurrection of Yahushua HaMashiach. So this is just one of the steps that you got to take that shows that you believe that he died and rose again, because that's what baptism is. It's basically, it's a metaphor of you dying and being raised up to life. So the old covenant versus the new covenant. So the old covenant, you had the blood of animals. Now we got the blood of Christ. It was written on stone because you had people had a stony heart. Then now the Mashiach is going to write them in your heart. Right? It's a shadow picture. Fear of Yahuwah placed in the heart, because that's going to happen. Right? It was glorious, but this one was more glorious. Had an end. This one has no end. The law of Moshe, the law of the Mashiach. Right? For animal sacrifice is gone. Now it's the law of the Mashiach. Law of works, law of faith. Because faith and works basically go together, because if you believe, you're going to do it. Law of sin and death, law of righteousness. See, so when people keep saying that you ain't got to follow the law, what law are you talking about? Because this is all here. Many sacrifices, one sacrifice. Powerless to save, powerful to save. Because once it turned into the book of the law, again, willful sin can get you knocked off. But if you If you don't sin willfully, guess what? Now the blood of Christ can save you. Annul atonement, eternal atonement. Earthly tabernacle, it's going to still be an earthly tabernacle because he wants to dwell with his people. Ministry of death, ministry of life, because the commandments would kill you if you didn't follow them. But now you still got to follow them, but now you got a ministry of life. Outer form flesh, inner reality. Ministry of condemnation, ministry of reconciliation. Now, Jeremiah 11:3, and say thou unto them, thus says Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, cursed be the man that obeyeth not the words of this covenant. Right? Galatians 3:13, Christ has redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is everyone that hangeth on a tree. Does that mean that you don't have to do them? Of course it doesn't, because we're going to show you that. It just means that by you trying to do the right thing, you got a wall of protection. Here's a new promise. Jeremiah 31:31. We waiting on this. Behold, the days come, says Yahuwah, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Hebrews 13:20. Now the Elohim of peace, who brought up from the dead the great shepherd of the sheep through the blood of the eternal covenant, even Yahusha our sovereign. So Hebrews chapter 10, by a new and living way, which he hath consecrated for us through the veil, that is to say, his flesh. That's it means so. And having an high priest over the house of Elohim, let us draw near with the true heart and full assurance of faith, having our minds sprinkled, because remember, he had to sprinkle the people before, right? All you say we would do. This is what Paul is trying to tell you right here, having our hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water. Same, I mean, it's the exact same thing. Jeremiah 15:5. Who will have pity on you, O Jerusalem? Or who will grieve for you? Who will turn aside to ask about your welfare? You have rejected me, declares Yahuwah. You keep going backward. So I have stretched out my hand against you and destroyed you. I am weary of relenting. I have winnowed them with the winnowing fork. In the gates of the land, I have bereaved them. I have destroyed my people. They did not turn from their ways. I have made their widows more in number than the sand of the sea. I have brought against the mothers of the young men a destroyer at noonday. I have made anguish and terror fall upon them suddenly. And we keep seeing this over and over. But it's going to be the same thing because we still refuse to do this. And I mean, sometimes it just get to be tiring. I mean, so now he's already said that. Now here he come putting it together. I baptize you with water for repentance. This is what John's saying. But he who is coming after me is mightier than I, whose sandals I am not worthy to carry. He will baptize you with the Ruach, set apart one, and fire. There go that winnowing fork is in his hand. And he will clear his threshing floor and gather his wheat into the barn, but the chaff he will burn with unquenchable fire. So that goes for everybody. No matter who you are, if you got flesh and bone on you, guess what? Because we can look at this like the threshing floor is dealing with Israel. We know that. But again, you always have strangers with us. See? But if you're not doing what's right, you're gonna get burned up. You're gonna be chaff. You're not gonna be wheat. You're gonna be a tear because you look like you right. You Israel, but you ain't got what it takes. Period. And he said to the vineyard keeper, behold, 3 years I have come looking for fruit on this fig tree without finding any. Cut it down. Why does it even use up the ground? So that's his ministry was 3 years, right? 3.5 years. So he's still saying, I mean, by now y'all should be understanding what's going on. You know what? I'm just gonna break off these branches and get it over with. You know, you shouldn't even be alive. Now let's look at Romans chapter 11. I'm using the Aramaic New Testament parallel English translation. Israel will be greater. The plight of the broken branches. Romans 11:7. What then? That which Israel sought he hath not found, but the election have found. But the rest of them are blinded in their hearts. So when you go and try to tell these folk about the commandments and this and that, they're going to tell you they under grace. They ain't got to do that. Christ paid it all. all these type of things. So these are the ones that's blinded. But if you find out that you understand this, no matter who you are part of the election. Romans 11 and 8. As it is written, Elohim gave them a stupid spirit, and eyes to see not, and ears to hear not, unto this very day. And for those that is elect, you see this clearly. Romans 11 and 9. And David again says, let their table become a snare before them, and their reward be for a stumbling block. Let their eyes be darkened that they may not see, and their back at all times be bowed. No understanding at all. Carried away with the Elohims or the other elves of this world, period. Controlled by them. I mean, some of the things that these folks, especially these young people, like with their tongue out their mouth and all these different, they don't even understand what that what that means. The goddess Shiva, that's one of her things. But see, it's just, this is what Hasatan does. Most people, since they got the spirit of stupidness on them, they can't see it. And even for the ones that should be able to see it, they've been alive 80 years, they got the stupid spirit on them as well. And this is what's going on. This is what's wrong with Israel. Now, Romans 11 and 8, as it is written, gave them a stupid spirit and eyes to see not, and ears to hear not until this very day. John 9 and 40, some of the Pharisees who were with him heard this, and they asked him, are we blind too? If you were blind, Yahshua replied, you would not be guilty of sin. But since you claim you can see, your guilt remains. So when you try to tell Israel these things and they swear, or even, they swear that, I mean, I ain't blind, I know what's going on. Okay, then your guilt remains. Because we trying to tell you what you need to do. It's up to you to do it, though. Isaiah 28 and 14. Wherefore, hear the word of Yahuwah, you scornful men that rule this people which is in Jerusalem. Because you have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us, for we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. Zechariah, and this is what you see, Zechariah 11 and 9. Then said I will not feed you, that dieth, let it die. That is to be cut off, let it be cut off, and let the rest eat everyone the flesh of another. So I ain't with you like that no more. Because now I got a new way that you gotta come, period. If you want to be Israel. The curse continues with the help of our enemies, who we beg for equality. So you got the young brothers that's around here, they got a strong body, but they got a weak mind. They try to take equality by force, and he oppresses his own people, right? With the drugs, with the fear, with all these things. You can't take your kids, can't sit on the porch, some shooting going on, or you diving up under the bed, all this type of stuff. So miseducation agrees to be brain. So this is the people that agrees to be brainwashed, to fit in and be accepted for equality. But that still don't change nothing. His son can probably be on crack. His daughter can probably be a prostitute. I mean, it just goes on and on because the curses is real. Falsehood. They pray right to their Elohim for equality because it's another Elohim beside this Bible because their rules that they say they had to follow ain't got nothing to do with what we've been reading. Psalms 83 and 3. With cunning they scheme against your people and conspire against those you cherish, saying, come, let us erase them as a nation, because we don't know that we Israel. May the name of Israel be remembered no more, for with one mind they plot together, they form an alliance against you. And these are the people that we try so hard to be like, that we try to be so hard to be accepted by, but then the killings and everything else and discrimination and all these other things just keep happening. And then no matter what, you can't figure it out. And I'm gonna tell you something, it's a hard road, it's a hard road to hoe. Because you got the leaders that's getting paid to keep you blind. I mean, who can you turn to but Yahuwah? You can't trust your pastor. You can't trust the politicians. You just it's just amazing. This brother got some videos on the Boule. I can't remember his name, but they are so powerful. I'm gonna see if I can get his name and everything on one of these videos because I mean I see whoever comes up here that still I see that it's few people, I guess, dropped off. I've been gone so long, but it's okay. I let the spirit do what it do. But I'm gonna put that up here because everybody that hasn't seen them needs to see them. What people value highly is detestable in Yahuwah's sight. So all the things that we value, that we think is merit, ain't nothing. It's nothing. It's detestable. They who are called into the inheritance which is eternal. Spiritual Israel, the many. The only thing that will help us is having the mind of Christ. This is what makes you spiritual Israel. We have a lot to fight through. We must walk in the spirit by doing the same things the Mashiach did. It's the spirit of the Father, which is the Ruach, that makes you walk spiritually, think and talk spiritually. This is what makes all men who walk in the spirit spiritual Israel, as we will see. And this is just you might want to screenshot this. I think this is the one I was just talking about with the blue. I think I put this is the link I think I put up here, if I'm doing that right. Now, temptation, test of the firstborn, part 1, which was passed. Satan tempted him, he passed that test. Like we got to do the same thing. Let's look at the steps he took. Exodus 13 and 16, on the morning of the third day, there was a thunder and lightning, thick cloud covered the mountain. A loud trumpet blast was heard, and everyone in camp trembled with fear. Moshe led them out of the camp to meet Elohim. They stood at the foot of the mountain. Exodus 34 and 29, Moses came down from Mount Sinai carrying the 10 commandments. His face was shining brightly because Yahuwah, Elohim, praised be his name, had been speaking to him. Now, Mark 16, 32 through 44, same thing. It's the same Elohim that gave you these commandments. Here he is in the flesh. That's why this is so powerful, that you do what he says. Yahshua tells the disciples to give the crowd something to eat. They say, hold on 1 second, excuse me. Are we to go and spend 200 denarii on bread for them to eat? Yasha asks what food is available, and all they can find is 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Yasha blesses the food, breaks the bread, and hands it out to the disciples to distribute. So we know the 5 loaves point toward the 5 books of Moses. It's a metaphor, and the 2 fish is for the house of Israel and the house of Judah. So the Mashiach teaches the everlasting gospel. He reinstates the covenant. Now he's starting to put everything back together to get the people away from the traditions of the Pharisees and bring them back under the covenant that the Father put forth and the words of the Father. Because remember, he didn't come saying his own words. He only said what was given to him. That was part of his work. So temptation test of the firstborn, part 2. That was at the stake when they nailed him to the tree. Boom, it's over with. He done did all he had to do. He did all the work that he was sent to do faithfully, did not drop the ball one time, right? So the Mashiach claims his inheritance. So we know that horns also always reveal authority and power, and we know that he sees all things with the 7 eyes, right? Then I saw a lamb looking as if it had been slain, standing at the center of the throne, or the 7 spirits, encircled by the 4 living creatures and the elders. The lamb had 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of Yahuwah, sent out into all the earth. So Ephesians 4:20 through 25 in the Worldwide English New Testament. Have a new mind and heart. Be a new person. That new person has been made like Elohim. Why? Because you are walking in the spirit. He does what is right and holy because he knows the truth. What's the truth? The truth is the edus. The truth is the testimony of Yahuwah. Praise and bless his name. The truth is his commandments, his words. Period. See, but that's how you're going to know the truth, because we're going to show you what you got to have. Hebrews 10, again, by a new and living way, which he had consecrated for us through the veil that is to say his flesh, and having a high priest over the house of Elohim, let us draw near with a true heart and full assurance of faith, having our hearts sprinkled from evil in the evil conscience. You need something to help you do this, and our bodies washed with pure water. The fire and the Elohim. Is not my word like as a fire, says Yahweh. I'm talking about his whole word, and like a hammer that breaketh rock in pieces. Isaiah 4:4, when Yahuwah has washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion and purged the bloodshed of Jerusalem from her midst. By what? The spirit of judgment and the spirit of burning, which is who? H number 7306, the Ruach, the breath, the burning. H 1197, fire to consume. So when she gets a hold of you, you should be able to be consumed with this word. She's going to guide you and lead you into all truth. This is the guarantee. So, a new promise. Let's look at this. All right, this is a better promise. If you love me, keep my commandments, and I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever, even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive. Why? Because they're not keeping the commandments. Because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him, but you know him, for she shall, or you know her. That's what it should say. It says that in every book except the New Testament. For she dwelleth with you and shall be in you. See, before they didn't have that. You had a couple of them, like Moshe had the spirit in him, Joshua, but the rest of them, the spirit would fall on them, like Caleb's brother. Let's see, Samson. You know what I'm saying? But this is a promise. This is to help you. This is the guarantee. This is conditional. If you love and do, you will receive this gift to help you in your struggle. And if you let it teach and guide you, will have a better chance to be adopted and will produce good fruit. Because you got to be adopted again. See? That's what makes you, we're going to show you the spiritual Israels for all those that walk in the spirit. So another new thing, a promise of Ruach that's set apart one. Okay, the New International Version, John 14:15 through 31. If you love me, keep my commandments, and I will ask the Father, he will give you another advocate. I'm just showing you another way that it's saying this. Another advocate to help you and be with you forever. The Spirit of truth. The world cannot accept her because it's neither sees her nor knows her, but you know her, for she lives with you and will be in you. I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you before long. The world will not see me anymore, but you will see me because I live. You also will live. See, you're not going to die the second death. On that day, you will realize that I am in my Father and you are in me, and I am in you. Whoever has my commands and keep them is the one who loves me. The one who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I too will love them and show myself to them. Boom. Period. You got to be in them. Under the new testimony, the Ruach set apart one will fill a believer or dwell within. And you must have this gift to enter the kingdom. There's no other way. The Ruach is a sign of future adoption and inheritance. In the past, we see the great feast done when this great feats done when this mighty spirit was in one's possession. John 14:16, and I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that she may abide with you forever. So what does that mean? What is he saying? It's going to be summoned, to call to one side, to call to one's aid. So you got somebody to help you, one who pleads another cause before a judge. Huh? Oh, wow, we need that. A pleader, a counsel for defense, legal assistant, an advocate. In the widest sense, a helper, secure, aid, or assistant. This is what we needed that most of them never had. They never had it. And we see the oath that was taken to get them knocked off in the wilderness, right? And beyond. Now, 2 Corinthians 5:5, he who has prepared us for this very thing is Elohim, who has given us the Spirit as a guarantee. See, they never had no Spirit as a guarantee before, but now you do. So the Father is giving you all these different gifts. He's giving you these better promises to help you get into the kingdom. And this is for anybody. Ephesians 5:17. Wherefore he says, awake thou that sleepeth, and arise from the dead, snap out of it, and Christ shall give thee light. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore be you not unwise, but understanding what the will of the sovereign is. And be not drunk with wine, wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to Yahuwah, giving thanks always for all things unto Elohim and the Father in the name of our sovereign Yahushua HaMashiach. See, again, this is you got to be filled with the Spirit, and the being filled with the Spirit it means that you walking in the Spirit, and this is what makes you spiritual and you doing spiritual things. So this is how a Gentile can be spiritual Israel. Because even Israel in the flesh is gonna have to be spiritual Israel. Period. We're gonna show you this. We're gonna get to that. You got. I mean, yeah. If you it already hasn't made sense by now, spiritual or fleshly. Galatians 5:16 through 23. Keep in step with the Spirit. But I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. For the desires of the flesh are against the Spirit, and the desires of the Spirit are against the flesh. But these are opposed to each other. See, they hate each other, right? Because one is carnal, one is spiritual, to keep you from doing the things that you want to do. Because you want to do right, but you keep finding yourself doing wrong. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law. Now, the works of the flesh are evident. See? And what does he mean by that? You are not under the law. You ain't subject to the penalties because you walking in the Spirit. The Spirit's gonna guide you and lead you in all truth. Then on top of that, you got the propitiation of the flesh of the blood of the Mashiach covering you. So the Spirit gonna show you how not to do something willfully, you good. The law can't touch you. Now the works, because remember, the law brings curses, right? If you don't do all of them. Now the works of the flesh are evident, and we need that because think about it like this: if a woman is on her menstrual, right? I mean, she's supposed to be separated. Okay, we know that in this society, Hasatan is not going to let you do that. So when you get on, if you're on a train or you get on a bus, and the sister just got up, that was because that's going to make you unclean if you sit there. Guess what? You ain't willfully do that. So guess what? The law can't hurt you because because of the blood of the Mashiach. That makes sense to you, and for those that understand the law. Now, the works of the flesh are evident: sexual immorality, impurity, sensuality, adultery, sorcery, enmity, strife, jealousy, fits of anger. Right? When these young boys get to shooting up everything because they can't get their way or they mad about something, that's fits of anger. Rivalries, these gangs, dissensions, divisions, envy, drunkenness, orgies, and the things like these, I warn you, as I warned you before, that those who do such things will not inherit the kingdom of Elohim. It's not, it don't matter who you are. So if you're not walking in the Spirit, you're going to fulfill the works of the flesh and you're not going to get in the kingdom. But if you spiritual Israel, you keeping the commandments, you walking in the Spirit, that's what makes you spiritual Israel. Boom. Guess what? You're not gonna fulfill the lust of the flesh because guess what you're going to have? Verse 22: the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no law. That's why he's saying that. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law because there is no law against these attributes because this is what the Ruach is going to teach you by you being spiritual and walking in the Spirit. It's not a how could I answer that question real quick, but I like to do it this way. Romans 8 and 13. For if you live according to the flesh, you will die. Period. But if by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you will live. Because the Spirit's going to show you how to do that. For all who are led by the Spirit of Elohim are sons of Elohim. For you did not receive a spirit of slavery that returned you to fear, right? Fear of dying, but you received the spirit of sonship by whom we cry, Ab Yahuwah. Matthew 5 and 9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the sons of Elohim. John 1 and 12. But to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become the children of Elohim. And that's what makes that's the difference. If you a child of Elohim, you got to be spiritual to do that. And you got to be led by the Spirit. Again, that's what makes you spiritual Israel. So the word led, to lead, to take with one, to lead by laying hold of, and this way to bring to point of destination. Well, he says of an animal, because we beasts. But guess what? The destination you're trying to get to is a kingdom, to lead by a company, to a place, to lead with oneself, attached to oneself as an attendant, to conduct, to bring, to lead, to guide, direct, to move of forces, influences on the mind. So either you're gonna have Hasatan that's gonna influence you, or the Ruach, which is gonna lead and guide you and influence your mind. To pass a day, keep or celebrate a feast, right? That the Ruach also gonna show you about why we need to keep these feast days. It's all here. It's all here. Romans 8 and 16. The Spirit bear witness with with our spirit that we are the children of Elohim. Right? Because it's going to bear witness because you're doing the things that it's teaching you. Romans 8 and 17. If the children then heirs of Elohim, and joint heirs with Christ, is so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. So again, to get this heirship, you're gonna need the Ruach, because otherwise you ain't gonna be strong enough to go through these tests that's getting ready to come. And some of us gonna have to get killed for it. Now, John 15 and 20. Remember the word that I said unto you. The servant is not greater than his sovereign. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they had kept my saying, every word that I say, they will keep yours too. Oh man, I thought you said you ain't do that no more. Man, what you doing over there? I see it. Man, I thought you don't. That's what they gonna do. Enter you at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. So everybody ain't gonna go to the broad way, but it's gonna be many that is. And it doesn't say who they are, it just says many, because it's gonna be those that's not walking in the spirit. Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth to life, and few there be that find it. Now, John 15 and 20. Remember the word that I said unto you, that the servant is not greater. So you're going to be persecuted just like they. And I put it up there twice because I want you to get that in your mind, because we see with all the things that's going down, it's coming. And we have to enter into the narrow gate, right? The straight gate is what we want. But it's going to be a few that's going to find it, right? We got to understand that. This is why we need this Ruach. Ecclesiasticus chapter 10. They that fear Yahweh are sure seed, right? We just got done reading how he gonna plant you, right? And they that love him, an honorable plant. They that regard not the law are a dishonorable seed. So if you don't want to keep the commandment, that's on you. They that transgress the commandment are a deceivable seed. Among brethren, he that is chief is honorable. So are they that fear Yahweh in his eyes. You want to be honored by him? You gotta fear him. The fear of Yahweh goeth before the obtaining of authority, but roughness and pride is a losing thereof. Whether he be rich, noble, or poor, the glory is the fear of Yahweh. It is not meet to despise the poor man that have understanding, neither is it convenient to magnify a sinful man. Great men and judges and potentates shall be honored, yet is there none of them greater than he that feareth Yahweh. No matter what you can gain in this life, it don't mean nothing. Obedience is everything. Unto the servant that is wise shall they that are free do service, and he that has knowledge will not grudge when he is reformed. And that's a big one. When somebody try to give you some understanding, you can't get mad about that. You can't be saying stuff under your breath. You just got to go ahead and look at it. If it's true, deal with it. Now, we're going to stop right here, and then we're going to pick it up again, because I want to make this short, so that way it's no problem. It's a short attention span, like my nephew told me. Sometimes you got to cut them down, so I'm cutting it down. So we're going to stop right here, and then we're going to end up killing this thing once and for all, putting it to sleep. All right, with that, I say shalom. We'll see you right back.